Hey friends, Patrina here with Homegrown Florida, and today I am going to be solving the much debated question of whether an AeroGarden actually saves you money. We are going to be looking at two different models. We're going to be looking at this guy over my shoulder here, which is the AeroGarden Farm, and I also have an AeroGarden Harvest. So we're going to look at both of those models and see how much does it cost to run these models, and then how much produce do you get from them, and whether or not that ROI returns an investment back to you. If you're not familiar with the AeroGarden products, they are a hydroponic indoor growing system. This one behind me is the AeroGarden 24XL Farm. And then I also have a 6-pod version, which is a small tabletop, called the AeroGarden Harvest. The big difference between these two is obviously its size. The Harvest is very small. It sits on the top of a kitchen countertop very, very well, and it holds 6 plants, where this guy behind me is used for much larger production, and it has 24 available plants. The AeroGardens are really good for a couple of reasons. One, if you are new to gardening and you want to build up that confidence, AeroGarden products are great because they are no nonsense. They grow all on their own. It's really hard to kill these plants if you follow the directions that AeroGarden puts out. The other reason I like it is because you can grow things in your AeroGarden that you might not be able to possibly grow outside. So I'm thinking of our friends up in the north. When it's snowy and way too cold to be growing stuff outside, you can grow things inside. And for us friends down here in the south, I grow my lettuce in my AeroGarden during the summer, because here in Florida you can't grow lettuce during the heat of the summer. It completely bolts. It is inedible and bitter. So this is a great product for being able to grow things outside of the seasons. Now let's talk about some of the things that you can grow in your AeroGarden. The most popular things are things like lettuce, tomatoes, peppers, and herbs, and you can do that in either one of the models. Some other things that you can grow more in the farm than in the harvest would be things that are vining plants, but small vining plants. Green beans, peas, eggplants, not necessarily vining, but you get where I'm going with that. Eggplant that kind of gets a little bit bigger and bushier. And then cucumbers, as long as they're like a bush style cucumbers. Everything that I'm mentioning, you do want to pick the patio container dwarf varieties. They're going to do much better in an AeroGarden than if you picked like an indeterminate tomato that gets 6 feet tall. It's not going to fit in here. You only have, like in a farm, you only have about 2.5 feet tall. And in a harvest, you only have 12 inches tall. So you have to keep that in mind of what the maximum or mature size of the plant is going to be. Now you can do things like you can trim the tops, especially with herbs and flowers, where you can trim the tops and keep them short, and that works just fine. But if it's something like a giant zinnia that gets 4 feet tall, you don't necessarily want to grow that in here. Another thing you don't necessarily want to grow are root crops. I have heard people who have had success with radishes. That seems pretty cool. I mean, they are a smaller root crop, so that makes sense. But your bigger root crops are not going to grow in these AeroGardens. It's not that they can't, they can, but the way that the pods are shaped, they will not allow things like potatoes and carrots and things like that to grow past the pod holder. On top of that, I'm not really sure how those plants do in a hydroponic setting. Hydroponics means you're growing straight in water and nutrients. That's it. There is no soil. There's no soil. It is all water. So you kind of have to think that root crops grown in water may have some problems, I think. So those are things that you can't grow in an AeroGarden, but there are a ton of things that you can. I almost forgot to mention flowers. That's actually what I'm growing in my AeroGarden Harvest right now, is petunias, cascade petunias, and they're in my bathroom, and they're pushing out all these flowers and blooms, and they're going to cover over the countertop. I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Now let's jump right into how much these products cost, how much it costs to grow produce in them, and then we're going to jump to how much savings you can expect. And I have my little trusty notes here just to make sure I stay completely on track with the numbers. It did take a little bit of math to do this, but let's start with the harvest, the AeroGarden Harvest. And I'm mainly focused on lettuce, herbs, and tomatoes as our 3 products that we would be growing. So for a harvest, which is the tabletop 6-pod version, that costs somewhere between $120 and $160. And I say the range because you can get them at different places. So that when I checked Amazon, it was $120, but when I checked the AeroGarden site, it was $164. But they also have sales going on almost all the time, whether between Amazon or AeroGarden, they have sales like pretty much nonstop. So you can probably get this for cheaper than that. The electric that it costs, I even got the electric cost, right? The electric that it costs is $1.33 per month. It has 23 watts that it takes up. So it's only charging you $1.30 a month. The seed kits. So you're going to need one of two things. You're either going to need the seed kits that AeroGarden sells, or you're going to need the Grow Anything kit that AeroGarden sells and then use your own seeds. That's what I like to do. But when I looked at the cost of both of these, they're pretty much the same cost. So you can do one or the other. Now the benefit of going with the Grow Anything kit versus the seed kits that AeroGarden puts out is when you use the seed kit, it comes with the pod and it comes with the seed, and you put that in there, the plant grows, and when the plant is done, you throw it away. The Grow Anything kit is designed to be reusable. So the first time you buy it, it's the same cost as a seed kit. However, when the plant is done, you throw away the peat moss pod that it comes in and the plant, but you keep the plastic housing and you can put new pods in there and new seeds in there so you can reuse them over and over and over, which over a long run, I feel like that is more cost effective. But those range from $13.95 to $22.99. The $13.95 was on the AeroGarden site, and the Amazon had it at $22.99. Once again, these go on sale all the time, so keep an eye on that. So for a season, I'm assuming a season is 3 months. So in a 3-month period, it's going to cost you anywhere from $136 to $191. So we're going to lean on the side of the more expensive as we're figuring out this ROI. So it's $191 for the harvest. Now let's talk about the farm. This one's quite a bit more expensive. So the farm price, the farm 24, is through AeroGarden. They call it say it's $929. Ooh, that's expensive. Through Amazon, it's marked at $895. Both very expensive, although in the recent months, I have seen these go on sale on both sites, on Amazon and on AeroGarden, for as little as $300. So if you're really interested in one of these, definitely put it in your basket and keep checking back, or put it on a watch list to see when it does go on sale to get that really good sale price. The electric for the farm is much more expensive as well. It takes 126 watts to run it, so that's about $7.30 per month to run the AeroGarden Farm. And then the seed kit and the Grow Anything are also more expensive because this holds 24 pods, not just 6. So if you're going to buy the seed kit, you need to buy 4 seed kits. And if you're going to buy the Grow Anything, you need to get 4 packages of the Grow Anything. And once again, the Grow Anything would be better in the long run because you don't have to keep buying the housings and things like that. So that brings us to a cost between $972 and $1,000, or all the way to $1,042. So you can see we're going to lean toward that $1,042. It's an expensive product. This is an investment. Now let's jump to the savings. Let's talk about what we're growing in it and how much you can harvest and what that equates to in terms of a cost. So we're going to talk about lettuce first. In the harvest, you can grow 6 plants. 6 plants should produce 4 ounces of lettuce, and you can cut it 3 times. And what I mean by that is, this has happened here, and I'll show you a close-up in just a moment. But what I've done here is I have harvested this by cutting it about 1 to 2 inches from the bottom of the plant. I cut all the leaves off the top, and I used those. And then it has grown back leaves. So that is called the cut and come again method. So if you're using the cut and come again method in your AeroGarden, you should be able to get 3 cuts out of this before the lettuce starts to age out. So if you're using the cut and come again 3 times at 4 ounces each time with 6 plants, that gives you 4.5 pounds of lettuce. Tomatoes, you can expect 13 ounces per tomato plant, but there's a catch here. With the harvest, you cannot grow 6 tomato plants in a harvest. They're not going to do well. The airflow is going to be a problem. The root system is going to get mucked up. It's going to be bad. So in a harvest, you really only want to grow 2 tomato plants. So 13 ounces with 2 tomato plants equals about 1.5 pounds of tomatoes that you can get. Herbs, you can grow 6 different herbs. And so I'm going to assume that the amount of herbs that you can get from an AeroGarden, I'm going to be on the conservative side and say you could get, an ounce of herbs a piece, which I think you can get a lot more. But I tried to measure that or compare that with what you buy in the grocery store, those little clamshell clear packs. And those are somewhere between 1/2 to 1 full ounce of herbs. So we're going to assume that you can get 6 packs of those herbs from the 6 plants that you're growing in your AeroGarden Harvest. So that equates to, price-wise, lettuce, $35.89, tomatoes, $9.09, and herbs, $14.94. So looking at all of those different vegetables, lettuce is probably the most profitable to grow in your AeroGarden. So if we grew nothing but lettuce in our AeroGarden Harvest, it would take 15 months to get your return on investment. So a bit over a year. Well, let's talk about the AeroGarden Farm next. It does grow a lot more. So if you were to grow lettuce, doing the same math of 4 ounces with 3 cuts, but you have 24 plants, you get 18 pounds of lettuce, which equals $143.58. If you did tomatoes, assuming you're going to get 13 ounces of tomatoes with 6 plants, the most you can probably do is 3 plants per section here, because it does have a wider base and it has more room in between the pods compared to the harvest. You're going to get 5 pounds of tomatoes. And if you did herbs would bring you 24 packs of herbs. The lettuce would equal $143.58, the tomatoes would equal $30.32, and the herbs would equal $59.76. If you grew lettuce, which is our highest return on investment crop, it would take you 21 months to get your return on investment. So that is almost 2 years. Most of the time when you're investing in a product, you're looking for a return on investment within 12 months. And neither one of these products did do that. The harvest was the closest at 15 months, and the farm was much further at 21 months. So what did we learn from this? We learned that the harvest is much quicker to get your return on investment. However, the volume that you're going to grow is much smaller. In a lot of ways, to me, a harvest is just an enjoyable process. So if you enjoy gardening, it is fun to watch a harvest grow in your kitchen. If you're outside of your season of growing and you really want to grow fresh lettuce or herbs, a harvest is the way to go. Or if you live in an apartment or small setting where you don't have an outdoor space to grow, a harvest is a great way to introduce some of your own fresh produce. Now, if you want to get super serious about growing lots of stuff inside, like what I do with lettuce during the summer, the AeroGarden Farm is the one that produces a lot more. But as you can see, it takes almost 2 full years to get your return on investment back. That is a long return on investment, and I think that you have to have a really good reason for wanting to do this. And for me, it is all around lettuce and greens, and we do eat a lot of lettuce and greens. We eat at least probably almost a head of lettuce a day. We're big salad eaters. So we do get our return on investment now that we have owned this for a while now. But you can see the way that you need to go about buying one of these is the sales. So definitely wait for a sale. Do not buy this at full price. It's going to take so much longer to get your money back. But if you can get a sale, so they had the harvest on sale during Prime Day for, I think it was $79. And then I've seen the farm on sale probably about 4 months ago at $300. If you can get them at those prices, you are going to cut the amount of time it takes you to get your return on investment. So if you can get the harvest at $70 to $79, instead of 15 months, you're probably looking at 7 or 8 months. Now that's a much better deal. And if you are looking at the farm and you can get it for $300 versus $1,000, you're also looking at that 7 to 9 month time frame. So definitely wait for the sales. The other thing I would say is definitely go with the grow anything pods, because the long-term cost of these, you don't have to keep buying that $13.95. You can get your own seeds, and you can buy seeds for $1.50 to $3 a pack, and they will have thousands of lettuce seeds in them. It will be enough seeds that you will never have to buy seeds again for several years, depending on how big of a lettuce eater you are. But if you buy the Grow Anything kit and just buy the pods when you need them, you can save a lot more money than buying the AeroGarden seed kits. So you can save money that way. And speaking of the reusable pods, the only things that you really need to buy for these over and over once you've got the Grow Anything kits are the pods, which are like I think they're peat moss or something. There's some sort of growing pod, and then the nutrients. I strongly encourage you to buy them in bulk. There's a lot of producers on Amazon that produce the AeroGarden pods, but are not AeroGarden, but they look like it, they behave like it. I find that they're exactly the same. So buying those in bulk, like in hundreds, will save you a ton of money. If you were to buy them from AeroGarden, they're extremely expensive and it's not even really worth it. The nutrient that AeroGarden provides, I think is pretty good. You know, I think it's a little strong, but it's pretty good. They only give you a little bottle. Now that little bottle will take you through probably 3 seasons, depending on whether you're using the harvest or whether you're using the farm. The farm takes more. But once you run out of that, if you buy their big, like, I think it's a pint size, little handle of their nutrient kit, it's actually very reasonable. So that I do buy from AeroGarden because I do think that their nutrients are good. Although there are other nutrients out on the market, I've compared them with the AeroGarden nutrients, and for me, the price is pretty much the same. So might as well buy the bulk one. So if you have been wondering whether or not you should buy an AeroGarden, I hope that this video helps you make that decision. I am always one to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly of any product that I use. So I think it's important to be very transparent about whether or not these things actually save you money. So if you enjoyed this, if you found it valuable, head down and give me a thumbs up just to let me know that you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching, and if you want to watch a couple more of my AeroGarden videos, I'm going to pop them up right now. Happy gardening, guys.